I'll make a motion to proceed as discussed in executive session with a favorable recommendation.
Is there a second? Second, Mr. Kadim. All in favor? Is there any discussion? Well, we can't do discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes yes. Motion passes 10-0. On tabled items, 5.1.1. Is there a motion to take this off the table?
I'll make a motion to take item.
Second by Mr. Poisson. O'Brien, I'm sorry, Bill. Okay, can't hear anymore. There's a motion to take it off table second. Is there any discussion? If not, we'll call it to vote.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now that we're off the table, is there any discussion on this roadside memorial markers? We had a lot of, I won't say nothing.
We had a lot of discussion on this.
Mr. Chairman, you still need a motion to do something off the table, a motion to approve.
Okay.
Do something.
Okay, now I'm looking for a motion to, now that it's off the table, motion to approve.
I'll make that
Mr.
motion.
Jancho, seconded by Mr. Perillo. Now, is there any discussion about this?
We talked about this at length. It's a good ordinance, and I think it's something that we need. We had a lot of questions. Whether or not we can go forward and then address the questions and amend the ordinance as necessary is fine, and I'm okay with doing that.
Any other thing? Mr. Pia?
So because we still, as Ms. Dancho stated, we're still kind of working through the details on this. Is this, per the town attorney, can we keep this on the table for another month and still work for it and then discuss it next month?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do we want to discuss it here,
Or
do we
discuss
want to discuss it? Do we want to bring it back?
Let's ask a,
Well, if you put it on the table, you can't discuss it. If you want to refer it back to ordinance or some other committee, the movement could withdraw her motion to approve and perhaps substitute a motion to refer this to ordinance committee, as you've done a few minutes ago regarding the littering ordinance.
Okay.
That's whatever your pleasure is.
so there's, what I'm hearing is that we're either discussing or we can't discuss it. You want to send it back to ordinance. That
Well,
what
you have a motion which has been seconded. You can discuss this now all you want because it's properly before the body.
Let's discuss it.
And you could take any other action you deem necessary at the end of the discussion, proceed to a vote, table, refer, whatever you want to do. But you clearly can
Okay, so I'll leave it open for discussion. Mr. Can.
Thank you, Chair. The motion as written and as attached to the agenda, I'm in favor of. Just wanted to make the statement as is.
The mayor wants to weigh in.
I just want to reiterate what I've heard many of you say. So there are some questions on the applicability and the actual operation of this ordinance and what department will be taking the lead and then forwarding it to the other departments to conclusion. So if it pleases the council, you can approve it. Through my office, we will figure out the processes and bring it back to you at the next council meeting for your final approval or review.
So that would be tabling it.
No, I believe what the mayor said. We would approve it, and with the stipulation, we go to your place and work out the details.
Of which department's going to manage
Okay.
the process. Because right now you have it in police and public works. There's no agency, no.
Mr. Chair, I think that was one of the bigger sticking points, at least for me, was trying to, who would be the best way to enforce, essentially, and that was for me. So I'm okay with the mayor's recommendation because that was similar language that we were discussing for the other ordinance on the littering bill in terms of enforcement. So,
All right. Is there any further discussion on this?
They can do it that way.
I'll make a motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
We already have a motion on the floor, right?
But with the mayor's points added in. I didn't know if we needed that or not.
There is no designated enforcement agent in the ordinance.
We need to
And
have-
so that's what the administration will be doing. I don't see a problem with you approving the ordinance tonight if that's what you want to do, and allowing the mayor and the administration, as, you know, the head of the executive branch of this government, to designate who's going to be the enforcement agency there.
That's it.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor. No, any further discussion? If not, we'll call to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes yes, motion passes 10-0. 6.2.1. Is there a motion from anyone?
Transfer.
Mr. Chair, you mean 6.2?
Point 1, page 4.
I'm sorry. I'll make that a motion to approve the resolution authorizing the transfer of arrear tax accounts to the tax expense account pending further action.
I'll second.
Second by, motion by Mr. Pia, second by Mrs. Dancho. Is there any discussion? Mr. Can.
Thank you, Chair. Just a verification that it's in the suspense account, it still remains a liability and collectible when appropriate. We're not forgiving the debt, we're just,
That is correct.
thank you.
If no further discussion, I'll call the vote. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 10-0. 6.2.2.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 6.2.2 regarding roof replacement at the Stratford Academy Johnson House.
Second by Mr. Kadim. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Chair votes yes. Motion passes 10-0. Mr. O'Brien, 6.2.3.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a resolution concerning Stratford's native son, William Samuel Johnson.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Hardin. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I'd just like to add a couple things. The cemetery where he is buried is the Christ Episcopal Church in back of St. James. The sons and daughters of the American Revolution worked the past 3 summers to restore, clean up, and fix tombstones in the cemetery, including William Samuel Johnson's tomb. There are over 20 Revolutionary patriots buried there.
Any other comments? If not, we'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes yes. Motion passes 10-0. On new business, the contract for the Local 36. Is there a motion? Mr. Perillo. Mr. Perillo, is there a second? Mr. Ticky. Is there any discussion on the contract for the International Federation of Professional Technical Engineers? If not, we'll call it to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes yes. Motion passes 10-0. 7.2, breakettes. Mr. O'Brien.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve a license agreement for DeLuca Hall of Fame Field for the Stratford Breakettes.
Second, and second by Mr. Kadim. Is there any discussion? If not, we'll call it to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes yes. Motion passes 10-0. Mr. O'Brien? Was that the A or the B? I mean, there's A and B. You're going to do the B, right?
Do you want to do B?
Sorry about that.
No, I got A and B here. Yeah.
Make a motion to approve 7-2B, light lease agreement for DeLuca Field concessions.
I'll second.
Who's the second? Ms. Tantra? Any discussion? If not, we'll call it to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 10-0. Appointments. Mr.
Chair,
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the council rules of procedure to add item 7.3.9, the appointment of 2 temporary members to the Board of Assessment Appeals to the agenda, as this is in a reevaluation year.
I think it's 7.3.6.
Yes.
7.3.6, I'd like to correct that for the
Actually,
record.
7.3.6 you have down as a member of the BAA. You're having temporary, you're
So
creating...
I'd like to add 2 additional, so would that be a separate
I would do it as
.9, or
separate.
can we add it in as .6?
I would do it as, if you're adding 2 more, is
Be
it 10?
.9.
I would do .9.
Okay, so I'll keep it as my original 7.3.9, the appointment of 2 temporary members to the Board of Assessment Appeals.
Okay, there's from Mr. P. Seconded by Mr. Ticky. Is there any discussion on this? If not, we'll call to vote. No, we're adding.
Adding it to the agenda.
Adding right now. Call to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes yes. Motion passes 10-0. Mr. Pia?
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. I'd like to approve, under appointment 7.3.1, the Conservation Commission, John Guglielmone to serve a 4-year term as nominated by the mayor. And if I may add, on a personal note, he's very well qualified for this.
Wait a minute. Hold on for a second. Yes, go ahead, continue.
So just the approval of 7.3.1 to John Guglielmone to the Conservation Commission.
There's a second by Mr. Can. Is there any discussion?
Second and discussion.
Yep.
I just want to thank the council and everyone that the names are included on the agenda so that we had a chance to preview them before the actual town council.
You can thank Margot for that.
Thank you, Margot.
Is there any discussion on this? If not, we'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes yes. Motion passes 10-0. Mr. Pia?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make a motion to approve 7.3.2, the Short Beach Park Commission, 3-year term. Item 7.3.2A, Peter Pulaski being nominated by the mayor as a member of the Short Beach Park Commission to the seat of David Panczak, having just expired in January 2nd of 2019. Attorney, can I continue? Thank you. B, Brandon Jones, nominated by the mayor as of the Short Beach Park Commission to the seat of Scott Barksdale, having just expired January 2nd, 2019. And we're going to hold off on C as for Tricia Hetherington, as I was made aware yesterday that she asked to pull back her consideration due to a family issue. So I would like to move forward with A and B.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ticky. Is there any discussion? If not, we'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes yes. Motion passes 10-0. Mr. O'Brien?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion for 7.3.3A, that Edward Cinto, appointed by the council chairman as a member of the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Commission to the seat of James Tusserone, expired January 13th, 2019. And 7.3.3B, that William McCann, appointed by the council chair as a Conservation Commission representative, member of the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Commission to the seat of William McCann, expired January 13th, 2019.
Is there a second? Mr. Perillo, is there any discussion? If not, we'll call to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes yes. Motion passes 10-0. Going down to, now we're going to 7.3.6. Actually, we're going to go down to 7.3.9. Everything else, there's nothing here. Mr. Pia, take it from there.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Chair. So 7.3.9, the Board of Assessment Appeals. I'd like to make a motion to appoint the following 2 individuals as temporary members to a 2-year term, the year of and the year after revaluation. A being Teresa Sheehy, with a term expiring January 21st, 2021. And B being Joseph Kubik, with a term expiring January 21st of 2021.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second by Mr. Ticky? Is there any discussion? If not, we'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 10-0. May I get a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. Poisson, seconded by Mr. Hardin. All in favor? Aye.